A very good day to all of you students. Today I shall teach you class 10th economics lesson 2nd. Name of the chapter is sectors of the Indian economy. Student, first we will know about the disguised unemployment. Student, disguised unemployment is that when the more persons are working on one place than the required ones, and student, people are working there but they are not fully employed, and student production does not suffer if some peoples are removed from that place. So that is a disguised unemployment. And student, disguised unemployment exists in the rural areas. Disguised unemployment exists in the urban area. So student, in the rural area, more persons are working than the required ones, and the students workers are underemployed, and their labor efforts get divided, and students they work less than their potentials. So this kind of employment is hidden student. It is known as disguised unemployment. Student, in the urban area also there is disguised unemployment. Student, in the urban areas, painters, plumbers, repair persons, cobblers, and other doing odd jobs. Students they search for the daily employment job, but they are unable to get job. Students they spend whole day to get a job, and whenever they get a job, they earn very little. Student, thus there is disguised unemployment both in the rural areas and the urban areas. Our next point is open unemployment. Student, in open unemployment, a person is unable to find any gainful work or any job. Student, a person is able and he is willing to work but does not find any gainful work, so he does nothing. So student, in this case, if any one is removed from the employed person, then production suffers due to the shortage of the worker. So that is open unemployment, students. And our next point is intermediate goods. So intermediate goods are those goods which are used up in producing the final goods. And student, these goods, the values of the final includes the value of the all intermediate goods that are used in making the final goods. Student, intermediate goods are not included in GDP. Only the final goods are used in the GDP. Student, for example, wood is an intermediate goods and furniture is a final goods. And our next point is final goods. So final goods are used for the final consumption. Final goods are included in GDP. So student, for example, furnitures and machines are final goods. Student, our next point is calculation of the total production in each sector, in primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Student, the value of the final goods and services in the three sectors are calculated, then added up to know the total production in each sector. Student, only final goods and services are counted because the value of the final goods, it includes the value of all the intermediate goods that are used in making the final goods. Student, for example, we can take the value of the table is rupees 2000. It includes the value of wood, that is rupees 1000. It includes the value of polish, that is rupees 500. So the value of wood and polish is not counted separately. So only final goods and services are counted. And our next point is GDP. GDP means gross domestic products. Students, sum of the total production in the three sectors, primary, secondary and tertiary, is called the gross domestic product. Student, our next point is the measurement of GDP. So student, measurement of GDP is undertaken by the central government ministry. So student, central government ministry collect the information with the help of various government departments of all the Indian states and all union territories, and student know the total volume of goods and services and their prices, and then estimates the GDP. Next is the importance of GDP. Student, GDP of a country shows the size of the economy of the country, and it reflects that whether the country is poor or the country is rich. It also tells us the status of the employment and the status of the people. Students, some ways are suggested to create more employment in the urban sector. Student, regional craft industry should be encouraged. Tourism industry should be promoted. Historical or cultural importance should be maintained. And student, according to the estimate of Planning Commission, nearly 20 lakhs jobs can be created in education sector for about 200 million children in the schools. Students, some ways are suggested to remove disguised unemployment and to create more employment in the rural sectors. Student loans should be provided to small farmers by the government or banks for tube wells to grow more crops. Student, new dams and canals should be constructed. It will lead to more employment in the agriculture sector. And student, transportation and storage facility must be improved to provide employment. Banks should provide agriculture credit to the farmers. Schools should be opened in the rural areas. Health services should be improved in rural areas by opening dispensaries. Tourism, a regional craft industry, or information technology should be encouraged by the government to create more employment in the rural areas. The government has implemented the right to work in 200 districts of India. It is called National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. This act was passed in 2005 and the act has to be implemented in 200 districts. Under this act, all those who are able to work and who are in need of work, government give 100 days of employment in a year. And student, if the government is unable to give the employment to the employee, then it will give unemployment allowance to the people. Student, I have taught you complete chapter. I think you might have understood. You like it, share it to other students to get education. You subscribe it for my next educational video. Thank you. Have a nice day. God bless you all.